we go. All right, I opened the link, so I'm gonna share my screen and my sound. Yeah, so I'm using NVDA right now. So I'm going to just start by going through it a little bit and see what all's going on.
Banner landmark web services link visit site homage heading level screen reader demo heading level 1. Main landmark alt tag examples heading screen reader demo heading level 1. Main navigation landmark list with 7 items link about US. Menu button collapsed submenu opens up menu for about us. Main landmark alt tag examples heading level 2. Graphic stack of blueberry pancakes with powdered sugar.
Ooh, that sounds nice. I want one. I want some of those.
With alt tag. Without alt tag. Heading level 2 table examples. Table with 6 rows and 3 columns. Row 1 column 1 week. Column 2 assignment. Column 3 due date. Column 2 assignment. Column 1 week. Row 2 week 1. Assignment column 2 read chapters 1 to 3. Due date column 3 January 20th. Assignment week column row 3 week 1. Assignment column 2 post introductions to discussion list. Due date column 3 January 20th. Week row 4 week 2. Assignment column 2 read chapters 4 to 6. Due date column 3 February 1st. Week row 5 week 3. Assignment column 2 read chapter 7. Due date column 3 February 8th. Week row 6 week 3. Assignment column 2 paper 2. Due date column 3 February 9th. Week edge of table week 3. Assignment column due date column out of table with 4 rows out of table. This table works well with a screen reader. Table with 4 rows and 3 columns. Row 1 column 1 week. Column 2 assignment. Column 1. Row 2 1. Row 1 week. Row 2 1. Column 2 table with 2 rows and 1 column. Row 1 column 1 read chapters 1 3 row 2 post introductions to discussion list. Edge of table row 2 post introductions to discussion list. Edge of table post introductions to discussion out of table row 2 column 3 Jan. 20 row 3 column 1 2. Row 4 3. Edge of table 3 column row 2 paper out of table row 4 column 3 Feb 8. Column 2 table with 2 rows and 1 column. Row 2 column 1 paper 2. Out of table row 4 out of table. This table does not work well with a screen reader. Heading level 2 link examples. Link student employment opportunities.
I'm gonna slow her down.
Rate 42. Rate 37. Rate 22. Rate 17.
I mean, like the thing is, like over time, as you use a screen reader, you sort of you get used to how it talks, and so you can speed it up because over time, like you just kind of are like, okay, there's so much info, I got to go through it quickly. I exclusively use the keyboard to navigate, like I don't use a mouse at all. I have certain key commands that I use to navigate things like tables and stuff like that. So the screen reader announces different types of information like tables, graphics, text fields, combo boxes, like stuff like that. So as we go through the page, you'll hear things like graphic, and that just means that it's an image. So I'll just go to the top of the page.
Link skip.
And then I'll give you an example. So I can get to because I know that there's an image on the page, I can just use G and it'll tell me what the next graphic is.
Banner landmark Carleton University graphic Carleton University shield.
And it happens to be Carleton. All right, so then we're just going to keep going.
List with 1 item search landmark. Main landmark stack of blueberry pancakes with powdered sugar graphic.
So we'll go through it. So that was where the alt text was super helpful and told me what that was.
Content info.
But I'll go back again and I'll show you another way that I can get to there. So that was using graphics, but say I didn't know that there was a picture on the page and I was like, oh, new web page, I don't know what's going on. I could press H to get to headings and I could navigate that way.
Banner landmark web services link visits screen reader demo heading level 1. Main landmark alt tag examples heading level 2.
Nice. Okay, so we're at the alt tag example here. So I just pressed H to go through the page heading by heading. I press Shift H to go back to the previous heading.
Graphic stack of blueberry pancakes with powdered sugar.
So that read the alt text, and then if I keep, I'm pressing the down arrow right now to keep going line by line through this page.
With alt tag.
So that was the alt tag, and then
without alt tag.
Without alt tag,
Heading.
It doesn't even read that there's a picture there. I think like certain browsers deal with this differently. I think like sometimes I'll have it where it'll say graphic. A lot of websites where you see pictures, people don't put alt text, that it'll just say graphic. But right now it just skipped it and didn't tell me there was a picture.
Table with 6 rows and 3 columns. Row 1 column 1 week.
So you heard it say how many rows and columns there are in the table. It said
our table with 6 rows and 3 columns. Row 1 column 1.
It said table with 6 rows and 3 columns. So it tells me how big the table is. And in order to navigate this table, I use it depends on obviously like these key commands are different depending on what screen reader you're using. But I'm using NVDA, and what I use is I use Control Alt and my arrow keys to explore this table. Because if I were to just arrow through it, it wouldn't like read properly. So I use these key commands to be able to go up and down and left and right. So I'll give you a demo of that.
Row 1 week. Row 2 week 1. Row 3 week 1. Row 4 week 2. Row 5 week 3. Row 6 week 3. Edge of table week 3.
So I'll go back
Row
to the
edge of
top of
table
our
week.
table.
Column 2 assignment. Column 1 week. Column 2 assignment. Column 3 due date. Edge of table column 1 week. Row 2 week 1.
So then I can read across. So what's in week 1? What's our assignment that we have to do?
Assignment column 2 read chapters 1 to 3.
Okay, cool. That's for week 1.
Due date column 3 January 20th.
So then I can go back to the first week,
edge of table week
and
1.
I can go down.
Row 3 week 1. Assignment column 2 post introductions to discussion list. Due date column 3 January 20th. Edge of table week column 1 week 1. Row 4 week 2. Assignment column 2 read chapters 4 to 6. Due date column 3 February 1st. Week column 1 week 2. Assignment column 2 read chapters 4 to 6. Due date column 3 February 1st. Week row 5 week 3. Assignment column 2 read chapter 7. Due date column 3 February 8th. Week row 6 week 3. Assignment column 2 paper due. Due date column 3 February 9th. Assignment week column 1 week 3. Edge of table.
So that was the first table, and it read really, really well. All right, we're gonna go to our other table. So
assignment column 2 paper.
What I'm gonna do, just because I know that there's 2 tables on this page, is I'm gonna press T. So T and Shift T. So T jumps me to the next table, and Shift T jumps me to the previous table. So I'm gonna press T.
Table with 4 rows and 3 columns. Row 1 column 1 week.
So you heard it again say how many columns and rows there were. And so we're gonna go into this table, and we're gonna use the same commands that we used before. So
row 1 week. Row 2 1. Row 1 week. Column 2 assignment. Column 3 due date. Edge of tape column 1 week. Row 2 1.
So the reason why this is not as fun or easy to read with a screen reader is because remember how in the first example we heard it say column 1 week 1. In this example, we hear it say
row 1 week. Row 2 1.
So we heard it say row 1 week, row 2 1. So that means that I had to hear it say the row as opposed to hearing it all in one row. That means I had to go another row to see what week it was in. So it makes it a little bit slower to read. And it kind of if we're dealing with a really, really big table, for example, let's say this table had like 10 columns and 10 rows. It would be a lot harder for me to remember where I was at, because it would say row 1, week, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4. And so you wouldn't necessarily know where you were because you'd be hearing all this information in different columns. So it's not as succinct to listen to.
Row 1 week. Column 2 assignment. Row 2 table with 2 rows and 1 columns. Row 1 column 1 read chapters 1 3. Row 2 post introductions to discussion list.
So in that case,
edge of table. Edge of table. Read.
It looks to me like there's another table there with all the assignments in it, which again, like it's not linear, so it's like you get bounced into this other table and you're like, well, there's 3 tables on here. So it's more like, listening to that. I can quickly get around the first table, whereas the second one, it's like harder to get around. So
edge of table.
So yeah, and then of course, like when it comes to tables and stuff like that, the type of information really, really matters that you're conveying. So like this table is awesome because it has text. Like the first table in the second table. Like the subject matter, it has text that tells you. But say for example, like you're just looking at like a table of numbers, like um, if you're reading a research paper, that's where sometimes you can run into problems because there's nothing or very little information that will tell you what's going on in each column and row. And if it doesn't announce column and row headers like the first table that did, then it can lead you to, again, kind of that cognitive sort of that cognitive load, the way that our brain processes information, we have to remember what's going on where. So,
Mhm.
yeah, hope that makes sense. All right. So, for this one, I'm going to use my links list command, which is caps lock F7. Um, so links list is basically just a way of bringing up all the links on the page. So we're going to do that.
Elements list dialog. Preview. Level 0. Get support 20. Student employ Carlton. Twitter 20. Face email you 600. Contact US 29 of 33. Level follow us on. Visit Carleton University. Privacy policy. Accessibility 33 of 33. Level 0. Privacy visit follow a contact 600 email you Facebook Twitter 20 Carlton student get support 20 CMS help send get support 20 web accessibility 19 of 33 Lev Carlton CMS 18 of Carlton e-commerce 7 talks and workshop news 15 about US Fort Home 13 of 30
So it's just reading me all the links on the page. We're going to go.
click visited link student employment opportunities with the Accessibility Institute with link text. Visited link carlton.co/accessibility institute/employment opportunities/student accessibility champion/.
So we can tell that the first example is a lot easier to read than the second because, again, we get to listen to really concise information about what the link is going to bring us to. Whereas, here with the second example, we have to listen to carleton.ca/accessibility slash this slash that. And it can get a lot worse with bigger, more complicated links. Like there are times where I literally spend like 40 seconds listening to the linked and hearing it say like, especially with like like YouTube, for example, it'll have like just letters, numbers, all this fun stuff that you get to listen to.
Carleton University. Web services Carleton University. Link skip clickable carleton.co glow out of list link skip to
Ooh,
main
there's a
content.
skip to main content link. Oh, I like that.
Okay.
Be really helpful because sometimes a page has a lot going on,
Mhm.
and you just want to know what's going on and you don't want to have to scroll through everything as you've seen me kind of scrolling around a little bit. But skip to content links can be super helpful because it's like, yeah, I just get to know what's going on. I don't have to go through all the headings and
Mhm.
everything else. All right.
Main navigation link news. Link talks and workshops. Menu button collapsed submenu open submenu for talks and workshops.
Okay, so here we have a menu. So let's open that up.
Expanded. Grouping link web Wednesday workshops. Link coffee break events. Out of grouping link Carleton e-commerce. Menu button collapsed submenu open submenu for Carleton e-commerce. Link web out of grouping menu button expanded submenu open submenu for talks and workshops. Collapsed.
So another thing that you heard it say is button, which is another way that we can interact with um, a website. So if you press B and Shift B in this case, it'll get you to the previous and next buttons.
Open submenu for Carleton e-commerce menu button collapsed submenu. Open submenu for Carleton CMS menu button collapsed submenu.
Yeah, so I could press enter and it'll expand the menu.
Expanded. Grouping link CCMS help center. Link request a CMS website. Out of grouping visited link web accept group links out of grouping menu button expanded submenu open submenu for Carleton CMS. Collapsed.
So yeah, that's just some of the ways that I can get around a website.